So hey there everyone, and welcome to the channel. As always, thanks for stopping by and hanging out for a few minutes. My name is Rich Charpentier, I'm the channel host, and normally here we're talking about drones, building our drone business, doing autonomous flight, doing construction progression reporting, all sorts of different things. Now, last week I apologized to the new folks on channel that maybe we're a little ahead of where they're at. I know that there are a lot of new drone pilots coming online every month, and you're all looking around for information about starting to build your own drone businesses and what types of work you'd like to do. So last week we introduced a very simple flight that we were going to be doing for a client. They had 3 parcels totaling just about 100 acres. A very long, narrow corridor, so it provided some challenges for us as to having our visual observer and being able to capture everything that we were after. So we talked through the initial setup. I talked about utilizing an app called Litchi just to block out my flight area. And then I said, hey, next time you see me, we're going to be heading out to the location and doing the shoot. So just a few days ago, we did in fact head out to the location day after Thanksgiving, met up with the realtors, it's a husband and wife team, and got to go in and check out this raw land site in Kirkland, Arizona. So Kirkland is a little south and slightly west of Prescott, Arizona, about a half-an-hour drive into the area, and then of course doing some off-roading because there's a lot of off-roading out here in Arizona. So we got into the location. I did some video while we were driving in and driving out, which you're most likely seeing in this video right now. And one of the things that we didn't do, I actually wanted to do some recording on location and do this talk through with you from the location. However, the folks we were working with had a second appointment for the day, so we were under a bit of a time constraint while we were capturing this, doing some ground imaging, doing some 360s, and of course doing a sizable video of the property. It's a sizable property. So in total we were using the Mavic 2 Pro, the Canon M50, which we're recording on right now. I had my audio set up with me, but we didn't do anything with that. We also utilized a GoPro for the drive-in and the drive-out. We were on location for about 2 hours. We had a really unique canyon to deal with that was part of the property. We had a very interesting plateau above where we were launching from. And at one point in one of our launch areas for one of the height of land areas, we got the drone up to 388 feet above ground level to just make it over the plateau. So we could, of course, have hiked up to the top of land, the height of land, and launched from there and launched 400 feet above ground level from there as well. We did move our filming equipment around a little bit and move the drone around a little bit to showcase the entire area, and you'll be seeing that in the next video. But in the case of this one, we went out, we did our captures, and after doing our captures, we of course came back to the office to offload everything and take a look through what we've done. And you'll see a final rendering of this in the next video when everything's put together. But so right over in here right now, I actually have Final Cut up on the BenQ, just messages from actually a patron on the Patreon channel, and then my email's up in the back corner, some of the gear over here. So things don't always go exactly the way we want them to. We did get great footage for the client, but I really had wanted to take a little time to actually do some of the filming and capture some of the flight on the controller, which we didn't get to do because too much setup time, and like I said, the realtors needed to be somewhere else right after we were wrapped up with them. So while this is a simple shoot, we were contacted to do a raw land site. That's it. But 100 acres, 400 acres, 500 acres, we've had lots of different requests. And it does offer some challenges as to where you're launching and landing from, where your visual observer is at, the kind of access that you have to the land to be able to scout it out. I always do like to scout out as much of a property as possible before flying. So even while we're setting things up and even while we're seeing things on our video feed, you never know where obstructions are going to pop up. You never know where that height of land might have just a dramatic upswing to where you might have to relaunch somewhere else in order to capture that area as well. And also areas to do our 360s and our still images from as well. We're working with 100 acres. There's a lot of opportunity. Also, when you're doing the ground images, sometimes it's not going to be great. You're going to have a lot of views obstructed. You're going to be in low points on the land, and maybe that's actually where somebody wants to build the house, or you're going to be in the high points, leading to more construction challenges down the road to be able to cut a road in to actually get equipment in to actually do your build. So we do like to get the opportunity to take a look around location. If you have that opportunity, I would strongly suggest doing it. But so even those simple things, some video, some 360s, and some stills, a lot of work and time goes into not only the captures in the field, but everything that we're doing afterwards. So I started doing post-production on this yesterday, ran into a small problem with Final Cut and one of my motion trackers, because I just did a Final Cut update recently. By the way, software updates, firmware updates, they're the bane of our existence, right? You want to be on the latest software, you want to be up to date on the latest firmware, but hey, you load the firmware and something breaks, you load the new software update and something else breaks. So I spent a little bit of time yesterday getting things unbroken on my Final Cut install and getting my motion tracker to work again. You're going to see all of this in the final video, but I did want to have a conversation with you about the fact that even a simple shoot, even just raw land, what else is there to do? It's not orbiting a house or anything. You're still going to run into challenges. You're going to run into interesting flights. And even when you're looking things up on the GIS maps, the ArcGIS maps from Yavapai County in my case, even when you see those contour lines, it's still the big shocker when you pull into a property and see a big wall rising in front of you, and also a super awesome canyon that we did manage to get to fly in. The realtors really would love to have had the train coming through, and go figure, as we pulled out of the location and they headed off on their way, we were doing a couple additional ground photos from the entrance of this location, and looking in the distance to the south, I could see the train track with a train coming down it. So unfortunately, we didn't get to get the video of that, but if we had stayed 20 more minutes on location, we would have had the train coming through. And that was actually something that the realtors did want to show. So we did fly into the canyons there. We did show the proximity of the property to the railroad bed. And they actually thought it was kind of neat. And it's not one of those areas where the train's going to be blowing the horns. There's not a lot of crossings in the area at all, unless you get back to Kirkland Junction. Well, so there you go. We got our shoot done the day after Thanksgiving. We collected up all the data and imaging and video that we needed. I would love to have spent another hour on the location. Sometimes that's not going to happen. And I am going to be talking to the realtors tomorrow because of our proximity to the area. It's not a horrible drive. And I'd like to go back in and do a couple more 360s and a couple more ground images. And I've got the time. So these are folks we've worked with before. I always try to do a little extra for our clients. As you develop relationships with your clients, you'll know those folks that are totally worth it. And if you give them a little bit extra, they're always going to be coming back to you, and they're going to be referring to you. And by the way, these folks have referred us multiple times at this point in time. So super appreciative of that. So look forward to the next video where you're going to see the final compilation. I've got everything edited where I want it. So the next thing that I'm going to be doing is sending off a draft copy to the clients and getting their input on it. And 9 times out of 10, they'll want to move things around. They'll want to change some fonts a little bit. So when you're thinking about getting in this business, by the way, all the new folks who are on the channel, as I was saying, while this is a simple project, let's recap once more. We utilized a Mavic 2 Pro. We had a second Mavic 2 Pro with us and a Mavic Pro as well, so we always have backups with us. We had the M50 that we're talking on now. We had the GoPro. We had a couple of tripods. We had an iPhone for the controller, for seeing the video feed of what we were doing. And then, of course, coming back to the office, we do have our computers. We've got Final Cut, maybe use Adobe's Premiere, maybe use DaVinci Resolve. So we've got our total computer setup. So in the end, even doing a simple raw land job, a lot of equipment and a lot of software go into a job like this. So when you're starting to get into these sites, remember they're probably more complex than just a controller and the drone flying the location and then dumping video or dumping images on your clients. In the end, you've got to give them a nice presentation as well. They've paid you to document the property. You need to hand off the 360s. You need to hand off the final video once it's out of draft. You need to hand off all the still images that are going to be used on MLS. So the time that we take in the field is nothing in comparison to the time we take when we get back to the office. Well, I hope that's helpful. I hope this one was interesting for you, both for our regular channel subscribers and those of you who are new here. Thanks again for spending some time with us. Be sure to like and subscribe down below. And if you'd like, you can also check out some of our online courses. If you head over to azdrone.net, we've got a link for our classes. And right now, we're still running our Black Friday through Cyber Monday special. So if you haven't checked those out already, give them a click. You're under no obligation, but you can take a look and watch our previews to see if our video training helps you start building your drone business.